Welcome, dear Sangha, to our Path to Awakening series with our Garchen Institute Venerable Khenpo Tenzin. We will begin our teachings today with opening prayers in our yellow Garchen Institute prayer book, beginning on page 1. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to Bodhichitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to Bodhichitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and the supreme assembly of Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to Bodhichitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to Bodhichitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to Bodhichitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to Bodhichitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness in the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering in the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping. Completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and concepts of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial, the Supreme Mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Deva Dakini Ratna Mandala Pratishta Swaha. Namo. To the Guru, the utter purity of all appearance and existence, I offer all appearance and existence arisen as the primordial ground. I supplicate you, may the three realms be completely liberated. Please grant blessings to empty samsara from its depths. Lord with five omniscient wisdoms, crown ornament, kind one with loving nature, precious protector of beings, heart of all Buddhas inexpressible by words or thought, I supplicate you from the core of my mind. Bless me from within the state of Dharmata. Bless me to realize this mind, primordially pure and unborn as the unfathomable Dharmakaya. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma, of the greater and lesser vehicles and the teachings common to both, according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Damgwe doji jaji rezon ro jenja mada duja bonjon ba sarja lombo da vraje baga jaja japa jalang zanzar dorje janje telo narod marbamala juje gambo ba ba modra ba jawan rogong ba kajula mananje da jonje nananda zera tamje da lama lopa la ye jizo zon la zon yon yamzeng ala Tindre donjen rebegele zura dagelo juzun rover zinja labdozor chualamdan rover zinja labdozor lan chuaze var zinja labdozor rover zanja var zinja labdoz Gange dinjen rover njo ngaba me baji ba me bada me ba oa me bandro me bada de me dunje me rubanye je den ba zuba zanje mananje Tamba de la zanzar do tenjen la maji jaku zonda Zinla da da ge julam bede da ge demba da sunje je don ja jin bon da bra sunje la da zor Good morning, dear Dharma brothers and sisters. Today, our discussion is about vows or discipline. As the Buddha said, through flawless discipline in accordance with the rule of conduct, through perfectly pure discipline, and through discipline devout of arrogance, may I carry the perfection of discipline to completion. Vows are the foundation of every fortune. Like Mother Earth is the ground of all things that move, whether we have two legs or we have feathers or we have tires or we have more than 6 or 7 legs or 100 legs, or even if we are without legs. Even a river, every one of these things that moves is also related to ground, Mother Earth. Also, immobile things like stones or mountains, these things are also related to Mother Earth. Similarly, all qualities of Buddha, qualities of Dharma, qualities of Sangha, and mundane activities, all of these depend on discipline or vows. So, vows are in essentiality. It also has another meaning, which is gathering in the sense that it pulls all back from all negative things. That means it is a force that brings back our speech from negative things, brings back our bodies from negative things, brings back our minds from negative things. This is another way of understanding what we call the Dharma or view. In another sense, we can also explain the vows as refraining from negative things. In this way, we can say discipline. We can control ourselves and not start negative activities. And we call that ground conduct, because all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas praise keeping the vows. Also, we can say vows are cumulative, because they gather the merit of actions of the body, speech, and mind together. Now, there are many different kinds of vows. For instance, refuge vows, fasting vows, and Upasaka vows. There are also complete Upasaka vows and partial Upasaka vows. Then there's also novice or Sharamana vows and full ordained monks vows. All the full ordained nuns vows. These are all included in the Praktimoksha vows or self-liberation vows. In general, there are three categories of vows: the self-liberation vows, the Bodhichitta vows, and the Tantric vows. So first, we begin with the self-liberation vows. The foundation of all of these vows is the refuge. During this vow, you can take in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. These are three jewels. You begin by doing three prostrations in front of the statues of the Buddha, or you visualize that in front of you is Shakyamuni Buddha, and surrounding him are his disciples. To receive the refuge vow, you must give rise to renunciation, or in understanding of the defects of samsara. So first, you have to know that samsara is full of suffering, an ocean of suffering, and then you have to be scared of this suffering. And for that reason, you need a protector, a refuge to help you while you are in this samsara, because you are scared, you are afraid. This is the first cause of refuge. And then if you can arise compassion, at that time you can take the refuge vow for the sake of all mother sentient beings. Mother sentient beings are your children. You are only a single mom of these children, and you are armless. These children are being taken away by a river, big river, by the flood waters of samsara. You would like to protect them, but you cannot save them. For that reason, you take refuge vow, and you ask the three jewels to give you the refuge vow for the sake of all mother sentient beings, or for the sake of protecting your children of mother sentient beings. This feeling is the second kind of perfect cause of taking refuge. Then you have to know that it is the Buddha who will give you the refuge vow, and his Dharma is your real refuge. Because through the practice of the Dharma, you can liberate yourself from samsara, and you can also liberate all mother sentient beings from samsara. And then the Sangha are your friends. They are your friends because they guide you and you protect. So these are what we call the three jewels. The reason we call them jewels is because in this world there are many valuable things. Among them, jewels are very, very precious because they help us accomplish all of our wishes. So we call Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha the three jewels. And then we take refuge in them. To give you another example, the Buddha is like a teacher, and then the teacher has a book. This is the Dharma. Then he also has students, because teachers teach their subject to students. So the Buddha gives the teaching of the Dharma, and the Sangha practice this teaching. Then they are liberated through the practice of the Dharma. Shakyamuni Buddha first came in this world as an ordinary person, but then he took refuge from a stupa, and secondly he practiced Dharma, and then thirdly he had Sangha, like his first 5 disciples. Without Sangha, the Dharma itself cannot liberate us, because we do not know exactly how to practice it. And then according to the instructions of the Sangha help. Then we know how to practice. That's why these three are our refuge. And then when you take the actual vow, you say, Noble One, please grant me your attention. From this time on and for the individual liberation vow. For as long as I live, I will who am called, and then you say your name. Go for refuge in the Buddha, who is supreme among two-legged beings. I go for refuge in the Dharma, which is supreme among those free of attachment. I go for refuge in the Sangha, which is supreme among assembly for as long as I live. Noble One, please accept me as lay adherent. What is called adherent? It seems adherent. ADHEREN, adherent, right? Adherent. Of these threefold refuge, who observes a few precepts. So you ask in this way 3 times, and then you say, Master, please grant me your attention. From this time on and for 3 jewels, supreme refuge, which is endowed with love and compassion, until the essence of enlightened mind manifests. I who am called, and you should say your name, go for refuge in the Buddha, who is supreme among two-legged beings. I go for refuge in the Dharma, which is supreme among those free of attachment. I go for refuge in Sangha, which is supreme among assemblies, until essence of enlightenment manifests. Master, please accept me as a lay adherent to threefold refuge, who observes one or more of these 5 precepts. Then your master says, this is the method. And that means he accepts you. And this also means you have permission to follow the 3 jewels. This is how he said that you have received the refuge vow that he has given now. Then you say, excellent. So there are 2 ways that you address the preceptor. First is Noble One. At first, when you take the refuge vow, the preceptor is not yet your master. So you call him Noble One. But after you say, from this time on and for the individual liberation vow, for as long as I live. At that time, you receive refuge, actually. So that's why when you repeat the vow, you say, Master, please grant me your attention. Because by that time, the preceptor has become your master. So in that way, you receive the refuge vow. It's clear, right? Oh, thank you. So then, what is your training or advice after you take the refuge vow? First, since you took refuge vow from the Buddha, then you should not take refuge in mundane gods, like elemental gods, spirit gods, and so on, because they cannot liberate you from samsara, because they are in samsara. As it says in the 37th way of Bodhisattva, it says, who can worldly gods themselves imprisoned in samsara protect? Therefore, seek refuge in the three jewels, the undeceiving source of refuge. Then, since you have taken refuge in the Dharma, you must give up violent activities. You should be non-violent in your activities. Violence actually comes from malicious thoughts and covetousness and so on. It is best if you can avoid these harmful states of mind that create harmful motivations. But if you can't, at least you should avoid the act of violence as much as possible. Of course, if you can do that purely, that is wonderful. And also, since you have taken refuge in the Sangha, then you should stop associating with negative friends. This means those who go against the three jewels intentionally, who do not believe in karma, cause and effect intentionally, and who have a deliberate interest in the harming others and engaging other non-virtue activities. These kinds of people you should avoid physically, but hold them in your compassion. Then generally you recite refuge prayer as much as possible. Here, why you in this you taking refuge in Sangha, then you should stop associating with negative friends. This meaning is, if you don't have very good Dharma experience and Dharma knowledge, then your mind is very easy to change. Actually, you have freedom. You will become Buddhist or not. this is your freedom. But if you like to Dharma practice, and then you have enthusiasm to Dharma practice, and then sometimes you go with some kind of these who are disbelief or not believe in three jewels and karma, then they say some different things, then your mind changed. Your mind changed, and then it then uh, the you lost your golden opportunity to Dharma practice. So for that reason, if you have a good Dharma knowledge and good experience of Dharma practice, and your faith is come with not only blind faith, your faith is combined with spiritual wisdom. At that time, if you go with the kind of these negative friends, then you can help them, you can benefit them, because you give them some advice, and through this way, of course, you don't want to make them Buddhist if they want, but you can reduce their malicious thoughts, wrong view, negative actions, harmful actions. So that's why this is how Sangha help to others, right? So this is very important. And then you offer respect to every representation of the Buddha, even a broken piece of a Buddha statue. And you also respect all Dharma, even a single syllable. And then you respect the Sangha and the Dharma brothers and sisters. Sangha means our Dharma brothers and sisters. Our Dharma brothers and sisters are very important. They are more important than our family, because there are strong relationship between the Dharma brothers and sisters. Since we take refuge vow, they are very important. And then during the Vajrayana practice, at that time, very important. So we all like eight, if one flower has eight lotus, right? Petals. So if this missing one, then it looks funny, right? So that means the interdependence. So if we will be beautiful Sangha, then our Dharma brothers and sisters are very, very important. Even if it is just a piece of monastic robes. This is traditionally said, monastic robes is a kind of amongst yellow and red colors. But recently, you should respect to your Dharma brothers and sisters' clothes, not only for monastic robes, really, because they are Sangha. So when you attention to respect their clothes, even though their socks, and then the power of this, you can respect their directly. Then you can speak politely, right? And then you can respect. These are the requirements. Once you have take the refuge vow, and then not only do you stop intentionally harming others, but you try to help others as much as possible. So this is in overview of the vow of refuge. The reason we have to mention that refuge vow first, it is because the refuge vow is foundation of all vows. And then the Upasaka vow. Actually, the Upasaka vow has different classifications. For example, the triple refuge holder Upasaka, who just keeps the vow of the three jewels. But then there are others. For instance, the Upasaka practitioners who accept one vow among the 10 non-virtues, which is not kill others. And then there are those who we call what is it? Jain. Do you know Jain? G-E-Y-Y-A-N. G-E-N-Y-E-N. Wow. Sorry. Yes, that is it. The Upasaka, actually, Upasaka practitioner's name in Tibet. But it's rooted in English, that's why. Or Genyi, actually, Genyi. Yeah, it's, or Upasaka observing a few rules. They avoid killing others and also avoid stealing others' things. Okay. Then there are the Upasaka who take most of the precepts. They avoid killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. Then there are Upasakas who keep 4 or 5 vows. The 4 vows are to avoid killing, avoid stealing, avoid sexual misconduct, and avoid lying, right? Lying. Then some of them also add the 5th, add plus, avoiding alcohol. So when they take these vows are from the time they take them until death. They vow not to do these things. Is clear? When you first take these vows, you request them from our preceptor or preceptor, the noble one. You say, until death, may you accept me as in Upasaka. You can take and keep one vow or 3 vows. Okay. Or 4 or 5 completely, as you wish. These vows are actually my favorite because they are very suitable for almost everyone. And their benefit is really inconceivable. Even in this life, in mundane activities. For instance, in this life, in the mundane activities of couples, boyfriends and girlfriends, husband and wives, between them, there are many problems. Sorry to say that, but when I make it clear, I have to say. Oh, quite. If you don't have problems, then I'm sorry. Hopefully, you have no problem. uh, where we um, so these vows can help one avoid lots of these problems. Okay, I go again to say, or if someone is addicted to alcohol, if they take the vow to avoid alcohol and intoxicants. So vow is protector. Vow protects you. So that's you have to know. Why I'm going to take vows? Because the vows are protector. The benefit is really wonderful, and you can keep only one vow. If you cannot keep every vow, all of them, most of us will not actually kill another human being. But if we don't keep our vow not to kill, then we do not gain merit from not killing. Because if you're not killing other, but you don't keep vow, then if you have vow the merit, then the stones, trees, they have a merit because they're not kill actually. Of course, we avoid the non-virtue of killing, which good. But if we take a vow and don't kill others, it has such a wonderful benefit, which is called merit. That's why Lord Jigten Sungkun said, if you keep one vow, this will be the cause of your future enlightenment. He granted that through the power of keeping that vow, you will attain enlightenment. So these vows are essential, very important for us, and very suitable, and everybody can keep them. We can keep these vows until death. There are lots and lots of benefits. Whether you take a vow or not, makes a big difference in your merit. And then you, after take it, however much you can keep it, purely, clearly, it will benefit you more. So if we can't be fully ordained monks and nuns, this is still okay, because doing that is not easy. It takes a very great dedication of our life, be monastic lives. Taking the Upasaka vows helps us accumulate merit without becoming ordained. But if you don't have the refuge vow, you cannot take these vows. First, you should take the refuge vow, and this is part of why the refuge vow is very important. So you understand, right? Right now. There are many kinds of upasakas. So what kind of upasaka would you be? After you have the refuge vow, you can choose. Basically, for all of these vows, before we take them, we have to have renunciation. Renunciation is realizing that we have been taken by dangerous flood waters of samsara. We have to notice that samsara is like a serious flood waters. So we have to notice that samsara is in intensely burning fire, and we are of flying into the fire like moths. And we have to know that we are like a candle flame in strong storm winds. Samsara is like storm winds. If we notice these things, for that reason we take vows. It has power because our determination is very clear, pure and strong. That is principle. Then when you keep the vows with these kinds of determination, there are incredible benefits. Some of them we can experience immediately. Like for example, with the vow to avoid sexual misconduct, to see immediate benefits. We have to think why some problems occur between husband and wives, like when some wives have a husband but still run after other people's husband, then their own husband dislike it, and then they fight, and then they get divorced, and it hurts them financially. In some places, divorce is not a financial problem, but problem is children, because almost homeless. So how much suffering do we make for the children? And then in other case, the husband follows after other women, and then his wife is how much sad, how much upset. And then boyfriends and girlfriends, not only in universities, but definitely in many universities, these young boys and girls, handsome boys, beautiful girls with rich families and a wonderful life, they have everything, but they jumped off the roof of their building. They commit suicide. Why? Because of the suffering from these four non-virtues that can be prevented by the Upasaka vows. So number one, whoever keep these 4 or 5 vows, who can become a Upasaka, who keep these 5 rules complete, since they have these vows, this kind of problem will not occur for them. That's how these vows prevent this suffering. Of course, we are in the desire realm. We have taken rebirth in this desire realm because of the power of attachment. On the other hand, on the one hand, we have a precious human life. That's our merit. That is our merit, good karma. On the other hand, still we are in samsara. Due to our attachment, we have the imprint of attachment. For that reason, sometimes we still commit these non-virtues. At that time, we confess them. So we have attachment and we think, okay, I cannot be monastic. I cannot become a fully ordained monks and nuns, monk and nun. It's okay, everything is possible, but after you have a wife or husband or one boyfriend or one girlfriend, then you keep samaya. Samaya means you keep vows or follow certain rules. Then your boyfriend trusts you, or your girlfriend trusts you, or your husband trusts you, or your wife trusts you. And then your relationship is with samaya, pure samaya. Then you can keep help each other. And then you can be together always until death. So in this respect, your life will go very well, even if this is a samsaric life. If you have children, then you can take care of these one or two or three or however many children. You send them to school, that life has joy, even if they are in samsara. So we have to think about many of these things. We see on TV that some parents kill their children. Maybe you have seen this news many times. They kill their children, or a wife kills her husband, or a husband kills his wife. It is not just a story, it is real. If first they know Dharma practice has value, and then second they took Upasaka vows, then at least our society we could reduce this kind of suffering. Of course, those who take the vows cannot become perfect immediately. It is honestly not easy. But when it comes to this kind of serious non-virtue, the numbers will decrease. People will voluntarily become more peaceful. That's why these vows are the cause of peacefulness in our society. There are many other benefits. If I talk about this, it is almost endless. Some of you are older and you may think, I did not take these vows when I was young and now it is too late. Maybe you think that, but it is not true. If you are 99 years old today, you should take this vow because the benefit of this vow is not only in this life. This vow is for all time. That's why the Buddha said a person who has discipline is the most beautiful ornament of Buddhism. And a person who has discipline, all humans, gods, everybody will respect. And Lord Jigten Sungkun said, discipline and Mahamudara have a single essential point. Just as the refuge vow is the foundation of all vows, the Upasaka vows form the foundation of vows of fully ordained monks and nuns. If you have these vows, for instance, the vow not to kill others, then after when you protect others' lives, it has more benefit. Just like our first Shakyamuni Buddha became enlightened And then afterwards, he gave teachings. That's why the teachings had a great benefit. It is the same with the vows. How we receive Upasaka vows is first we arranged extensive offerings to the three jewels, offering to the Dharma, Ganachakara feast, to the Sangha, the preceptor, conferring the Upasaka vow can be any teacher who does not rely on the other gods, all the way up to a fully ordained monk who keeps his vows perfectly and ascends, right? Ascends a higher seat. One should joyfully pay homage and make offerings to the three jewels, make prostrations and cite on your heels, H-E-E-L-S, heels, right? With your palms joined together. In order to receive vows, one should repeat after the master. You say, Master, please heed me from today onwards for as long as I live. I who am called, and then you say your name. Take refuge in the Buddha, who is supreme among the two-legged beings. I take refuge in the Dharma, which is supreme among those who are free from desire. I take refuge in the Sangha, which is supreme among assemblies. Master, please accept me as a lay follower of pure conduct, non-sexual misconduct, and then the mistake exclaims, it is the method. And you, the disciple, reply, excellent. So then at this point you will receive the Upasaka vow. So next you say, Master, please heed me, just as the previous noble arhats refrained from killing for as long as they lived, running away from taking the life of others. So shall I, who am called, and then you say your name. Refrain from killing for as long as I live, turning away from taking the lives of others. So shall I observe this branch, following the exemplary training of the noble arhats, practicing in a like manner and acting as they did. Furthermore, just as the noble arhats refrained from stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and the intake of alcohol and intoxicants or any other substance leading to unrestrained behavior, and thus parting from heedfulness. Thus shall I, who am called, and you say your name, part from stealing, sexual misconduct, conduct, the intake of alcohol and intoxicants, and any substance leading to understanding behavior. Thus shall I observe these 5 branches, following the exemplary training of the noble arhats, practicing in manner and acting as they did. Then the master exclaims, "It is the way." You, the disciple, reply, "Yes." How wonderful! And this time you have received the full Upasaka vows. So the Upasaka vows are like a gold, the essence of the earth. One will be included in the 4 tips of return of the true perfected Buddhas. They are the excellent cause for being reborn in the pure lines of the Tathagatas. They will become the meditational support for the path of generation stage, endowed with the special support of a perfectly pure moral ethics. One becomes worthy of veneration and respect. One becomes worthy of veneration and respect. Engaging in the practicing of the profound Dharma, embellished with devotion and diligence, realization of the 10 bhumis may drawn in their lifetime. There are 7 different kinds of vows of individual liberations, or the Bhakti-moksha vows. A vows is actually for turning our body, speech, and mind towards virtue and the Dharma, letting us, enact, E-N-A-C-T, enact good karma and pulling us back from non-virtue. So, if we have engaged in some non-virtue, we can purify it, and then if through the vows we reduce non-virtue, we will improve. So the 7 types of individual liberation vows are the vows of fully ordained monks and nuns, then the vows of male and female novice, males and females, male and female upasakas, and also the vows for female nuns who are between being a novice and fully ordained. So there are 7. There's also Mahayana Subjong vows. The method of receiving them is through reciting this text. We receive these vows from all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas dwelling in the 10 directions. So we recite all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas dwelling in the 10 directions. Please heed me, just as the previous Tathagatas, Arhats, and perfectly complete Buddha who like the heavenly seated, and like the great elephant who did what had to be done, completed their tasks, laid down all their burdens, reached their own goal, and completely destroyed their bonds. to existence, whose speech is utterly perfect, and whose wisdom is completely liberated, who for the sake of all sentient beings, in order to benefit them, liberate them, eliminate famine, and heal them from illness, and in order to fully perfect all dharma directed towards awakening, so that they definitely realize unsurpassed, perfectly complete awakening, perfectly engaged in the practice of Sobjong. Sobjong, okay. And then, in the same way, after you recite these, you say your name, and from now on until sunset tomorrow, I shall perfectly take up the Sobjong vows for the sake of all sentient beings, in order to benefit them, liberate them, and eliminate famine, heal them from illness. May I fully perfect all dharma directed towards awakening, and definitely realize the unsurpassed, perfectly complete awakening. You recite these 3 times, and in that way you recite the vow. Actually, other vows is same. You have to repeat 3 times. If you have received this vow from a master, then you can take it again from statues which have been consecrated, or tankas which have blessing. First you generate Bodhichitta, and then you can take the vow. This vow has 8 precepts that you have to follow. These are giving up, engaging in killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, alcohol, sitting on his higher sets, eating at the wrong times, using perfume, jewelry, or other ornaments, and dancing or singing. Let me drink today. Today my lips something become very dry, or some not flexible. I just say my lips. That means actually the problem my English, but I just this is my excuse. So you say, from now on, I will not kill, I will not steal the belongings of others, I will not engage in sexual activities, I will not speak false words, I will totally abstain from alcohol, as it what to say? It's a gateway. I think it's maybe wrong. Gateway, right? ISA. Sorry, this is not from. Is a gateway for many mistakes. Hopefully, you will understand clearly. I will not sit on the higher and luxury seats. I will not eat at the inappropriate times. Inappropriate times, right? I will not use perfumes, jewelry, or ornaments. I will avoid entertainment such as song. Entertainment. Thank you. So I will avoid actions such as taking the lives of others. May I swiftly attain unsurpassed awakening. These are the Mahayana precepts. You can keep this vow for a day. For example, if you take this today, then you should keep them tomorrow until sunrise the day after tomorrow. If you would like to keep these vows until enlightenment, this vow can be taken that way. Usually there are rules and regulations for that. Lay people can keep the 8 Mahayana precepts. Those who don't have the opportunity to keep the vow of novice monk, fully ordained monks and novice nuns or fully ordained nuns can take this vow. Actually, our fully ordained monks has 253 vows. They can be condensed into 17 rules. Their opposites are the 5 main transgressions to avoid. They are negation of the vows. We call them the 5 kinds of downfalls. A fully ordained nuns has 364 rules to follow, with same 17 rules and 5 negations. But these are not related to you right now, so I will not explain in more detail about them. In the future, if you have interest in keeping these vows, then you will understand at that time clearly. All the vows are included in the 3 categories of vows. These are Praktimoksha vows, Bodhichitta vows, and Tantric vows. So the Bodhichitta vow is one that you have to take first from a Bodhisattva, like a guru, and then after you break it, if you break it, you can take it again from Tanka or a Buddha which has been consecrated, Buddha's Tanka statues which has been consecrated is better, or from your root guru. So when you take this Bodhichitta vow, you still need the refuge vow. This is principle. You can practice Bodhichitta, but for taking Bodhichitta vow, then you have a refuge vow. So when you start to take the vow, you first generate the mind of refuge. And then, for example, in the Gonkaju lineage, you recite, I will cause all mother sentient beings infinite as space, particularly enemies who despise me, obstructors who do harm, and those who hinder liberation and omniscience, to have happiness, be free from suffering, and sweetly attain precious, unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. And then also you say, for that purpose, I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue until enlightenment is attained. And then you say, until death, I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue. And then you say, from now until this time, tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. This is very important. If you have recited this part, when you promise, just as the Buddhas, the Tathagatas have done, how they practiced step by step through generating bodhicitta for the sake of mother sentient beings. You then will also do as they have done. And then the master says, this is the method. And then and at that time you receive the bodhicitta vow, and you say excellent. So any kind of vow you should think, oh no, I received this vow. That's very important. So the method is that your mind is turning on samaya or the vow. Then you have received bodhicitta vow. When you take the bodhisattva vow, you have two responsibilities. The first is rejoicing for yourself, because you already have a precious human life. And then on top of it, you now have the bodhicitta. This is like the sunrise after dawn on the eastern mountain. It means you are ready to become Buddha. You are like the sun rising in the sky of Buddhahood. Then also second is causing others to rejoice. Because you have bodhicitta, then whoever sees you, you can make a great virtuous imprint in their mind, in their body, speech, and mind. Even if your shadow, right, just touches other beings, it is a blessing for them. If you have a bodhicitta in your mind, whoever smells you, scent will benefit. So that's why you can cause others to rejoice. As this text says, today, in the presence of all the protectors, I have called wayfaring beings to realize their enlightened potential. Until then, in order to please beings, I invite them as guests. Thus you gods, demigods, and all of others rejoice. The bodhicitta vow is extremely important and necessary. Whether you are a monastic or not, whether you are a Tantric practitioner or not, whether you are Tantric practitioner or a Sutara practitioner. And actually, if you are not even religious, still you have bodhicitta. That's where often we say Shantideva's prayer. May precious and supreme bodhicitta arise in whom it has not been generated. May that which has been generated not decline, but ever further increase. For example, parents, especially mothers, they take care of a complete stranger, whether it's when we are in their womb, and they don't know us. They have never seen our face, and it doesn't matter if we are disabled. They take care of us. They don't care about our color or whether we are beautiful or not. This is mundane love. This love has limits. It is not limitless, but still it has power. This bodhicitta actually comes from mother's love, from friend's love. Then this love grows vaster and vaster, and it transforms into bodhicitta. So bodhicitta is very, very important. In brief, without bodhicitta, we cannot be enlightened, no matter how much we practice. In the 37 practice, it says, having now gained this great ship of freedom and fortune, so difficult to find, in order to free yourself and others from the ocean of cyclic existence, listen, reflect, and meditate day and night without distraction. This is the way of Bodhisattva. So we help others, we benefit others. Then this feeling comes from our bodhicitta. Without bodhicitta, then I is important, right? And then we have bodhicitta, then we can think when mothers who have loved us since beginningless time are suffering, then what good is our own happiness? This kind of thinking comes from bodhicitta. Because without bodhicitta, we cannot imagine all mothers and human beings are our mother. We have too much grasping. So that's why, as Shantideva said, all suffering with all exception comes from seeking your own happiness. The perfect Buddha are born from the altruistic mind. This is bodhicitta. That's why we have to truly exchange our own happiness for others' suffering. If we do this, what really happens is that we receive great benefit and happiness. So, in mundane activities, even if someone of lower starts driving by pride, treat us with disdain, but then we can still please them respectfully our own crown. This comes from bodhicitta. And also, even if someone driving by great desire steals all our wealth, or lets others steal it, dedicate to them our bodies, possessions, and 3 times virtues. So this kind of courage comes from bodhicitta. And even if someone cuts off our head when we haven't done anything wrong, or even if others slander us through billions words, we can in return speak with a loving mind of their qualities. And this ability or power of mind comes from bodhicitta. And so even if someone cuts off our head, we take all their negative deeds upon ourselves through power of compassion. This is also comes from bodhicitta. Even if someone who have carried for as dearly as our own child regards us as an enemy, we love that person even more as mother would in ailing child. So this also comes from the power of bodhicitta. And then sometimes we have no wealth, no health. Then at that time, if we have Bodhichitta, then we can practice taking on the suffering of others, so it can be purified our own suffering, and sending them well-being. This power of mind comes from our Bodhichitta. So if we practice Bodhichitta well, and we take the Bodhichitta vow, then we can see appearances as our mind. When we have this knowledge that everything is our own mind, then when we come across things that attack us, like a beautiful rainbow in the summertime, then we notice that we cannot own them. Our suffering becomes like the death of a child in a dream. If we notice, if we have these kinds of realizations, actually these kinds of realizations occur from Bodhichitta vow. If we have these realizations, then we are ready for Vajrayana practice. Because in Vajrayana practice, we say there is the generation stage. When we practice the generation stage, at that time, we have 3 responsibilities, which are that all appearances are the deity, all sounds are mantra, and all thoughts are non-dual. Now I will go over the Tantric vows. All vows are basically the same. We have to avoid negative activities, and we have to avoid accumulating negative karma. And we have to gather positive karma and virtue through our body, speech, and mind. As Lord Jigten Sungun said, the lower vows are the foundation of the higher vows. This means all these vows are interrelated. For instance, in order to receive the individual liberation vow, you must have the refuge vow. And likewise, for receiving Tantric vows, you must have these other vows, like the individual liberation vows, and so on. There are many different classifications, as you know, but in principle, vow means you avoid non-virtue activities and you tame your mind. This is the key point. Then for the Tantric vow, we need to have refuge vow as the foundation, as everybody knows. And then also we have to have the Bodhichitta vow. This is the main requirement. And then when you take Tantric vow, you make the commitment that you will keep these vows until you become enlightened. This determination or commitment must arise from your Dharma wisdom. It is not a crucial, accidental decision or due to the influences of others. Not like that. It must come from your clear mind wisdom, clear Dharma wisdom. That is very, very important. We receive Tantric vows during empowerment from the text. Basically, we receive them during empowerment from our Guru. The easiest vow is to receive are the Tantric vows, especially recently. because many gurus are bestowing empowerments. But tantric vows are the hardest to keep because they have lots of samayas, millions of samayas. It is even hard to know what each and every samaya is. But all of these samayas are included in the 14 root downfalls. But first, the tantric vows comes from the 4 classes of tantra. These are the kriya tantra, it's English action tantra, right? And kriya is the second one. It can pronounce it maybe in Tibetan it's charya tantra. So any of the it's like a charya tantra, right? Kriya tantra. It's, first is kriya tantra. Second is charya tantra, probably ch. Seems kriya, yes, char. Charya, yes, charya tantra, and yoga tantra, and anu-yoga tantra. There are another 6 classifications like father tantra, mother tantra, and non-dual tantra, and so on. And the tantras of the new and old traditions have lots of instructions. When it comes to taking empowerment in any of these classes of tantra, there are 3 levels of practitioners. Those of higher, middling, and lower capacities. Practitioner. Did you find the Kriya Tantra? First is Kriya, that's clear. Is we call action tantra, right? Second is what calls in English? This spelling is CHARY. Someone who know Tibetan called Juju. Oh, second is probably action tantra. Yes. Right. It's the ju means actually action. So that's the second one is action tantra. First is Kriya Tantra is K R I. Kriya Tantra. All right. Oh, thank you. It's called Charya, right? All right, right. All right. Oh, thank you. Practitioners of a lower capacity need to have a mandala, like a sand mandala or constructed mandala, or they need to be introduced to the aspects of the mandala. This is that, and this is this, like that. Like the doors and the windows and so on. Sometimes we see a constructed mandala that is established. Sometimes there is a sand mandala. First, Guru introduces the mandalas, and then gives the empowerment. The student of medium capacity. Okay, here one practitioner can be kind of these three capacities, because first, second, right, it's develop their wisdoms. Don't think, oh, you are lower part, you are medium, you are higher. We don't discriminate like that. The one person, when your realization increase, then there are some steps. Okay. Students of medium capabilities can use a mandala painted on a canvas. I think canvas on the clothes, paint something. They will understand from that. Anyhow, they need to understand this meaning of this, how to visualize the part. Student of higher capacities can understand with a body mandala. A body mandala is when they see the guru's body, for example. The guru body is actually the 5 family Buddhas. So, okay. And then other Yidam deities, especially the deity of which empowerment is being conferred. If we know a little bit about this, it is important. That's why I'm mentioned it here. A Kriya Tantric empowerment includes the garland of flowers. I just say some part, okay? Water and crown empowerment. And you will receive Kriya Tantric vows during the garland, water, and crown empowerment, and others. You receive the Charya Tantric vows, Vajra, and Bill, and other empowerments. Then during the Yoga Tantra empowerments, you receive the vows through similar empowerment, including Vajra Master's empowerment. Anuttara Tantra vows are received from its empowerments. We call it the higher 3 empowerments. These are the secret empowerment, wisdom empowerment, and the union of wisdom and method empowerment. Sometimes we call it the world empowerment. And at that time, we receive the vows of the Anuttara Yoga Tantra. In any case, when we receive empowerment, we often hear Savatatanga da Abhika de Samaya Shireye Hong. There are 2 parts to the meaning of this. This is very important to understand. Actually, when empowerment, Lord Jitin Sunggun said, when you take empowerment, right? You should understand the meaning. So 100% you should listen from Guru who gives empowerment to you. At that moment, what he say, exactly you listen, visualize, repeat. So and then empowerment receive in your mind. So this is a very important. First is, actually this is important, especially I received the Gonchik teaching, Gonchik single point of Lord Jiti Sunggung. Inside has that instruction. It helps me a lot, really. Then if you practice on there, I trust you receive more benefit, more than me, because of your wisdom. So first is what we call scattering, right? Scattering. So what we are scattering over or overthrowing are our afflictive emotions. They have gathering together and become like ice. That's why we have to scatter them. The second meaning is pouring. What are we pouring? The nectar of primordial wisdom. This is what the word's meaning. This phrase is in relation to the Vows empowerment. Vows empowerment. The Vows empowerment purifies the channels and the body. Actually, when we receive this empowerment, it purifies the ordinary channels of your body and plants the seed of Nirmanakaya. After the Vows empowerment, there is the secret empowerment. What is meant by secret is that it is secret from those of lower capacities. Because if they see it, realization will not arise from there. Then instead they will have wrong view and confusion. How we receive the secret empowerment is through the Vajra and Banga. Vajra and Banga. Banga actually means everybody knows so that part, but actually the Banga means conquer. Yeah, sometimes we know, right, what's the meaning of Banga. But it's same object, but we have to understand it different ways. So conquer. So we are conquering the negative channels, negative winds, negative thoughts, and so on. It actually conquers lots of negative thoughts. That basically this empowerment is received from the union of the Yidam deities Yab and Yum. We receive their Bodhichitta and white and red drops at our throats. And it purifies the negative imprints of speech, plants the seed of Sambhogakaya. And then third is what we call the wisdom empowerment. This is the relative Bodhichitta and ultimate Bodhichitta. There are two relative Bodhichitta and relative Bodhichitta aspects of this empowerment is the four joys through engaging and disengaging. Engaging, okay, and disengage. So we give rise to the four joys. The ultimate Bodhichitta aspect of this empowerment is realizing primordial wisdom or the wisdom of a great bliss. The fourth empowerment is called the world empowerment. The meaning of this empowerment is introduced through words. That's why we call it the world empowerment. In the Sutara vehicle, it is called the Sungata Garba or Buddha nature. In the new tradition, we call it the nature of mind. In the old tradition, it is called the Rikpa Rangjung Yishi, or intrinsic awareness. There are different names but same meaning. So I mentioned that the empowerment has two meanings. First is the scatter. What is scattered? What is scattered by empowerment is the imprint of the six consciousnesses. When we wake up, these six consciousnesses automatically follow the sense object. Then attachment and aversion arise. That's why we scatter them. Actually, the vast empowerment has 7 individual empowerments. They are called the 7 empowerments of entering like a child. If you received culture empowerment, then you know about this very detailed. They are the water empowerment, the crown empowerment, the ribbon empowerment, the Vajra and the bell empowerment, the Vajra of practice empowerment, the name empowerment, and so on. Yes. And then sometimes there are 37 different empowerment during the Vows empowerment. Then during this secret empowerment, our ordinary winds and ordinary mind are purified. Because of our ordinary winds and mind, we have many delusions in our dreams. So they can be purified this way, scattered by the secret empowerment. Then the wisdom empowerment scatters the deep sleep state. In deep sleep, we don't have ordinary wind and mind. It is almost like an unconsciousness. So this is ignorance. So the wisdom empowerment purifies ignorance. Because at that time, bliss and wisdom arise in our channels. Then the world empowerment purifies the perception of the gross feeling of union. The ordinary feeling that occurs during the union, the fourth empowerment scattered this feeling so that the realization that bliss is also emptiness can arise. And at this time, from the white drops fill to the crown and the red drops bottom of the main channel, and in between there is full of drops. Then when your central channel is full of the drops, then ordinary consciousness has no space to function, and then inconceivable bliss arises. That's why this fourth empowerment purifies the obscurations and establishes or plants the seed of the fourth kaya. And the other 3 empowerments establish or plants the seed each of the 3 kayas. In brief, ordinary appearances, subjects and objects are emptiness, bliss, and especially the nature of compassion. So when you have these empowerments, then you receive Tantric vows. After we receive from Tantric vows, from empowerments, we have to keep the Tantric vows like they are our eyes. In order to keep them, we have to know what they are. as I mentioned earlier, there are millions of tantric vows, but they are all included in the 14 root tantric vows. So there is the confession of the 14 tantric root downfalls, and through them we can understand what the vows are we have to keep, and what we have to be careful to avoid. So I will teach them later this series. Okay, so today we discussed about vows, especially 3 vows: Bhakti Moksha vows, and Bodhichitta vows, and Tantric vows. So we always have to notice that, remember that vow means protector. It protects from suffering, because since we keep vows, then we will not create the cause of sufferings. If we will not create cause of suffering, then suffering is always zero. There is no suffering. Even you say, I need suffering, but it will not. So, yes, after we receive vows, it's not easy to keep, because since beginningless time, we cultivated non-virtues. So we have a strong imprint of negative karma in our mind. So it's not easy to purify completely. But if we can keep it for 1 day, 1 hour, we try to keep it. So, because we are so exciting to liberate from samsara and become enlightened. So through vows, if we recite single mantra, it has power. So actually, we recite any single mantra, it has a wonderful benefit. But after you have a vow, then recite, it has more benefit. And then you have Bodhichitta, it has more and more benefit. And then you have realization of non-duality, and you recite it, then you have inconceivable benefit. So that's where. But then if we have, if through realization we recite that, okay, why we need kind of lots of small kind of these things. Perhaps you think you are right, but it's the Buddha start to teach his dharma through his wisdom, primordial wisdom. So if suddenly we say, look at your nature of mind, just a few disciples, few practitioners, they realize suddenly the nature of mind. If there are 100 students, among them just a few students can understand. But 95 students may be difficult to understand. But if understood that, but immediately forget it, or immediately obscure by the ignorance and so on. That's why we have to come step by step. For example, lay people take this Sobjang vow, or the Upasaka vow. Upasaka vows are very suitable for lay people, lay practitioners. You can keep. And recently, in Tibet, I heard many these parents, they keep this vow. Many Khenpos, they gave advice to them to keep that vow. And this is, and then then we have great karma. This we almost automatically received the Tantric vows. That's where if we know clearly what are them, and sometimes we will break, of course, break over samaya because of our afflictive emotion. But non-virtue has no quality, but it has only single quality, which is we can confess, purify. So, of course, you will know already. Just I repeat that, and then thank you very much for listening, and I rejoice deeply. And then we dedicate. Chancho Senjo Rinpoche Ma Ji Banan Ji Jur Ji Ba Nyan Bar Mi Bar Yang Gone Gone Be War Sho.
May Bodhichitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.